2 steps to the left. My left. Come back 1. Good. Mark is good.
In the early days of the railroad, the surveyors discovered 2 major sites that showed that either a major battle took place or a massacre. "325 skeletal remains were unearthed from a pile that was thought to be an earthbound. The oldest of the families that remembered was the family of Señor Manuel Cavazos, who claimed to be a Carrizo Indian by birth. As he states in his record, question, Señor Cavazos, do you have any facts relating to the skeletons that have been found? As I have said many times before, even though I am old, it will never pass in my eyes on what happened to my family when I was a little boy of 11. This you call Devil's River. To our people, it was a place of safety. It was dark that night. As we slept, the long robes and the long spears came into our camp and trampled and murdered our people. They raped our young sisters and murdered them in front of their elders, before murdering them too. They put our little ones on spear tips and held them up for all to see. My sister was a child, and the long spears cut her with their knives where her unborn baby slept. The long spears gathered all the bodies of my people and burned them. Some were still alive, and I could hear their screams. As I lay with a spear in my bag from the river's edge, I saw long spears dig a hole in the ground and dump my people in it. I awoke that morning and nothing was there. I was alone. Everything was burned. Question. Senor Cavazos, do you have any facts relating to the skeletons that have been found? The mound is my people, the Carrizo, who were massacred by the long robes and the long spears. So the rivers run with the blood of my people and their tears in Texas. And history doesn't start at the Alamo, it starts with this river. It doesn't start with the missions, it starts before that. And they just keep it out of the history. I am, I am, I am, I am, and in ye, I am, I am. My name is Yanawiskiapanig Napol, which means I stand alone. We are the original people of this land. We have claim not just to the land, but the land has claim to us. But there's a different teaching in this land than the one that was brought in of greed and avarice. I think a lot of time people don't recognize our thinking. They assume a lot. That's what you get in history now, based on a lot of assumptions of a more linear and more colonized mentality. These hills here, they have names in our language. It's important to us to understand that it's not what they name it, it's the name that was there before. So Misek is what we call Texas. Before it was Spain, it used to be nothing but Somisek. Before it was Mexico, it was Somisek. Before it was Texas, it still had Somisek.
A little bit more.
Because we did have a language and continue to use that language and continue to identify our presence here. We weren't extinct, never were. So our language never was dead.
You want to push that one in more?
There was a time when we were at the disadvantage because they came in with their papers and they came in with their language. They were the ones that were interpreting and defining everything. And that was their narrative. That's why we have the problems that we have today. So Misek means the place of the sun. We call ourselves Eshtokna, the Carrizo Comecrudo people. We're trying to be more specific on what we consider what is indigenous land.
Raise the mark.
The word indigenous itself is still a generic word. For us, being a tribal indigenous people connects us to a teaching. And the teaching of the river, the teaching of the land, and the teaching of the medicines that are here, like the peyote. It's all significant to something that is native of the teachings of this area. You just assume, like a lot of people have done, you end up with an assumption of a romanticized noble red man or noble red woman. And that's not what it's about.
A little bit more to the left. That's good. A little bit more. Yeah, if you just come this way a little bit more. That's good. That's good. Yeah, a little bit more. Just this way a little bit. All right.
Your infrastructures are not the same as ours because the infrastructures that belong to us is the water, the land, the air, the fire,
A little bit
and
more to the left.
ourselves. We're part of that infrastructure.
That's good. Good.
So when those infrastructures are threatened, we have to stand up and protect the land. We're not protesting, and we're protectors. We're protecting our culture. This is about the issue of trying to maintain an identity through identifying with the land. Because the land is us. When you're walking here, you're walking on my ancestors. There has been an ongoing genocide in the United States that people don't want to talk about. And we have to be aware that the respect comes to respecting our dead. you've been comfortable enough. It's time for us to be comfortable ourselves. It's going back to that circle of taking back what is ours. Texas is the top fossil fuel producer and shipping areas. We have stories about those minerals staying in the ground. What's happening right now because of the digging of coal mines, the oil, and the digging of copper mines and uranium mines, all of that is dead stuff. It's dead, so you're bringing the dead into the living. It's not a healthy human mentality. It's one of destruction and desecration. This painting here is one of the signatures of who we are. During both equinoxes, on the feet of the stick man, there's the sunlight that touches it. It shows him walking up toward heaven. And so that's how we say creator in our language is Yauna Gakyo. It means the God that went above. Underneath it, you see the roadrunner, and then the other one is a river otter. The two animals are the clans that he came from. And then you have the heart and the liver. The liver is for purification. It's a filter of our bodies. And the heart is about pumping the life. Like you see the mission over there. That's the recent one. We don't recognize the border because they dropped it on top of us. It separated our families, separated our clans, separated our tribe. To us, there's not that division. The division's been created to maintain the separation and to maintain the bigotry that goes along with manifest destiny. Let's not militarize it anymore. Let's humanize it. We can't have that kind of mentality trying to overcome our humanity. We need to change the narrative. We need to start talking about what's in infrastructure. It's not the pipelines and it's not the wall. Those are not critical infrastructures. What's critical is what they're doing to the land. And these guys just can't see that because they just see the money. That's their culture. That's their God. You know, even in the dollar bill, it says, "In God we trust." The white shaman is a prophecy of the coming of the white man. It's 4,000 years old. These things are being prophesized way ahead of time. It's just a matter of knowing the language and understanding it. We have a written language. It's on those walls. There's other ways to fight these battles. The battlegrounds have changed. Now it's the courtrooms and it's the legislature floors where we have to make sure that these bills are being honest and sincere and exemplify humanity. Not ones that come in there and exemplify corporate America. And that's not America. When you look at your hands, people don't realize how you can be a calendar in your hands. So if you count the sections on each finger, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's 14 on each hand. So 14 and 14 is 28. And the moon cycle is 28 days. Because every 28 days there's a moon change. There's 4 directions, and each direction has 7. So that's 28 also. If you take the 28 joints here and you multiply them by your major joints in your body, which are 13, you come up with 364, which is a full year. Your hand calendar doesn't go with the Roman calendar. It goes with the season change and the quarter marker changes. Right now we're in the winter solstice. This is the spring equinox, the summer solstice, and then you have the fall equinox. You have February 2nd, May 4th, August 5th, and then you have November 2nd, which are quarter markers, a middle between a solstice and an equinox. So it's a life way that you're learning, because each season, the way you live is going to have to change. You can almost live your life according to what's here. We're almost connected to everything around us. We just have to understand what those teachings are. We had no calendars, we had no TV. We only had the moon and the sun, and it told us how to live. You hear a lot of people say that we're supposed to have dominion over the earth. Actually, the earth is our dominion. We live on one earth. We just got to learn how to live with our diversities.